All right, we're about to go live. All righty. Good morning, good people. How is everyone doing out there? We are just kicking it off. Sonia, our trusted hostess, is on the way. She's leaving the meeting. But in Sonia's absence right now, we have a powerful parent who is about to wrap up our cohort 6 fellowship. And I'm going to let her introduce herself, but I'll just kick it to you, Dr. Burke, and just introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Dr. Kenesha Burke, 2 kids in Metro, college professor, and a really staunch advocate for, exceptional education students.
Mm-hmm. So we got a couple things to talk about today, and thank you, Dr. Burke, for jumping on there, so I wouldn't be out here by myself. But as as usual, we'll talk about MAP testing. We've been getting some really good feedback from parents. It started about 3 weeks ago when Miss Kimberly White and Miss Burke were talking about their experience, and then we want to jump into the possibility of transitioning back to virtual learning. Dr. Battle put out a memo earlier this week talking about the possibility, and it was dependent on just their dashboard, which was like transmission rate, positive rates. And then we'll end it with just talking about last week's interview with News 2. We had a parent who jumped on who was commenting. The news reached out, and Sonia did an interview, but also the parent did an interview for a first time. So we'll just jump into that. But just to open it up, what are you guys hearing, or how are you feeling about virtual learning? We are 1 week away from Thanksgiving. We're about 3 weeks from the end of the fall semester as we transition into January. And so if you guys can comment, like, how is virtual learning going in your household? And as we listen for you guys, Ms. Burke, I'm going to ask you that. How is virtual learning going for you?
Well, you know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I have a high schooler. He's a freshman. This is a straight A student. He's struggling with virtual. He is really struggling with virtual. He's doing his work. He's not working to the level that he used to work at. And I mean, there's deficits that are there. So, I mean, he's gained weight. And I know that to some people that doesn't mean anything in essence, but I think these are just symptoms of these kids not being able to be active.
Yeah,
He's gained weight. He seems a little bit depressed with it. You
yeah.
know, and I hear him. He's on the computer. He's doing his work and everything, and he's frustrated because they'll let him come to school to go to practice, but he can't go to school, and it's his
Right.
freshman year.
Yeah,
So
and
it's kind of contradictory for him.
yeah, I think we're all struggling with that too. I think for us, I'm very active. I hurt my knee, but usually we'll get out and we'll run around. They'll have PE, and so that whole being in the house for us, 24 hours a day is rough. And with us still working, I got to be intentional and really find time to really just get out the house. And I'll say with my son, I said it last week. He is a he does well academically, but I think this was the first time in his math that his math went all the way down because he usually gets that support. He's over there working on it now, but again, like, that's a struggle. And so, we're just dealing with, even if schools open up for us, like, do we even go back because the rate is picking up? But how do we have that balance? Earlier this year, we talked about people having pods. And so I would be even interested in, like, how are pods going with some of the parents?
Well, I mean, I do know of a pod. We have a pod in our neighborhood.
Okay.
And I mean, I will say that it is doing really well. But one of the
Okay.
things that is happening is that people are starting to charge. So, you know, it's like you try to charge like we in daycare a little bit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, I mean, if we're looking, the homeschool collective or co-op that they have,
Okay.
you know, you get together and you know, we all just come together, we work together and we pool our resources. If it's going to work like that, it's good. But then when we start, you know, dropping kids off, it's $150 a week and we got a person in there without education.
Come
I
on,
ain't, you
man.
know what I'm saying?
Sign
You,
me up. Let me do it. Wow.
you
Now
know,
let me ask you this. Now, what is in a pod? Like, how does that look? I remember we had Holly on, and then we had Deanna, who used to work with us. She was talking about homeschool. Holly was talking about pods. But just refresh us. Like, how does that work with homeschool and pods, and kind of what's the difference?
well, I have one that, you know, I have homeschool. I'm
Yep.
homeschooling. So, as far as the pods is, the way we were setting it up initially was, we had all the kids at one location with their computers,
Mm-hmm.
and we have, you know, sort of just set it up like it's a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And have them follow their schedule on PLT days, work with them on their assignments, and, you know, help them, you know, work the system pretty much,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
And it also keeps when there's an adult constantly there while they're doing it, it keeps
Mm-hmm.
them on task.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, with most parents working at home, a lot of times the kids are working while the parents are working at the same time.
That's what's happening right now. That's what's
Yep.
happening right now.
Now,
And I'll say,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I will say the difference is, you know, I unenrolled my fifth grader from Metro, and I decided to homeschool him.
Mm-hmm.
Found a great homeschool program. Now he still does do stuff on the computer. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I outgraded and, you know, and stuff like that. The difference is that it's adaptive.
Mm-hmm.
So, say for example, like your son's having trouble with math.
Yep.
That program that he's working with, if he does something wrong, it doesn't go back and just say it's wrong and keep moving. It shows him a video on how to do it. Gives him another problem. If he does it, it replays another video. You see what I'm saying? So he doesn't move on until he has mastered that subject. And one of the issues with virtual is you got all of these kids having bad grades. We getting this email saying, oh, we're going to give them a chance to make up work. What they're not realizing is the kids they're not getting the information. They don't understand it, and nobody's helping them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Sonya just jumped in this. I got a little echo. If you guys hear it. But what I will say, just a plug and a shout out. Tiara and I were doing a one-on-one last week, and we ran into Bishop Campbell. Bishop Campbell was in 37208, and he was just telling us some of the things he's doing with, I don't know what he calls it, but essentially he opens up the church. They got support. But the first 2 months before the elementary school kids went back in, this dude had 90 children at his church, helping them get online, and then helping them with the day-to-day stuff. And it was a big resource. And I was like, who is helping you, Bishop Campbell? Was like, we just kind of keeping it in-house. And so just shout out to Bishop Campbell. And Bishop Campbell, I'm going to come over. I know they may go back virtual starting next week. And so definitely want to come over and help you out at the church. If you got 40 now and it jumped back up to 90, I know you're going to need the support. And I know some people are talking about bringing food. And so if you know of other churches or other nonprofits who are doing it, please let us know, because we want to get the word out. And again, man, shout out to Bishop Campbell, like just having an opportunity for kids to come to a place where they can get on internet, but also get the support. How's it going for you, Sonya? I know you just jumped on, you just warming up.
Hey, I stay warm. I stay warm, man. You gotta stay warm in this game, man. It's like, woo. Yeah. What's up with y'all?
Man, we doing good. Just a couple things. We want to talk about MAP testing. Just any updates. I think that's been going good each week of listening to parents who struggle. Last week, we heard from Miss Thomas about her struggles of getting the MAP test, but also understanding it. And then, of course, we want to talk about the possibility of transitioning back to virtual learning. Dr. Battle sent out a memo and said she may be making an announcement no later than the 24th of November. And then, as always, what are we hearing from parents? And then we were going to end with just last week's interview with Channel 2. But I'm gonna jump to this, and then Sonya will jump to you. But Kanisha, like, what makes you so passionate about education?
First generation everything. I'm a first generation high school graduate. I'm a first generation college graduate. There is no one in my family with as much education that I have. And I navigated the educational system by myself. And it wasn't until there were key stakeholders in my life as I went through elementary school to middle school to high school to college that taught me. You know what I'm saying? They were folks, and I always it's this example in education. There's this thing that happens with our culture, and it's mothering. It's called mothering, and so well, it is that the students seek out someone that is comforting to them, that looks like them, that the culture is the same, and they seek that person out to help them understand what to do. Okay, so you see that a lot on college campuses. You see it in high school a lot. When somebody has their favorite teacher, you got that one teacher out there doing all of that. And mothering is really important in the school type setting, I say, because it gives students the opportunity who are disadvantaged at home to have somebody pour into them. And so
what are we missing with that, though? So this one thing that we talked about this morning on our call, like why the schools are not working for our kids. Like, and we went really deep. It wasn't just, a program, but like not just in Nashville, not just in Memphis, or not just in Oakland, but across the country in like urban areas with Black and brown kids. Like, why isn't it working for us?
I'm going to say something, and I just want to put this out here. We had a insurgence of Teach for America. You guys remember that? All of these job corps in which they went and they brought people from outside of the community. They put them through basically a crash course and put them in our classrooms. And that usually occurred, and they went usually to low income areas. So not to say that all of them are unqualified, but we have less of the, higher level teachers in our area, I feel. Because when we have that population, when we have such a high population of Teach for America, like right in our area, if you go and we look at some of our teachers, I believe it's about 22% are coming in through Teach for America. And if we go over to the charter school programs with their little programs, they have about at least 50% of those people are still getting their master's in education and teaching at the same time.
But what is, and I hear that, and we talked about that earlier, like on an earlier show, but just breaking down the numbers, right? Like it's higher, right? And if we talk about 20%, like what about the 80%, right? Like, and that's what I mean, like go deep. Like what do we think is not happening? Because this is not, we looked at a report, right? And it said over the past 25 to 30 years, academic achievement hasn't increased, right? And so I think a lot of times we can like point to one thing, but like, let's go back 30 years and like what has started to happen in our communities where we're struggling.
I'll jump in.
Okay.
It's not what has started to happen. It's what has always happened. I'm going to take y'all all the way back to something. My granddaddy was born into slavery. My granddaddy never learned how to read. He never went to school. Just 45 minutes from here in Guthrie, Kentucky. So I have a real life example going back as to why. Because nobody feels like we deserve it. See, John, you say this best. We can build spaceships. And we can fly man to the moon.
Walk on the moon.
But damn, we can't even teach a child how to read. Something that just should be as simple as that. As simple as that. And we don't do that. So let's just be real.
But why don't we do that?
Huh?
Why don't we?
Because the system was built not for us. The system was this country has never felt like we deserved anything, whether it be food, whether it be shelter, whether it be education, whether it be healthcare. It's not set up. It's strategically set up to where we're looked at as the have-nots and shouldn't have.
And let's just put that out there. And
Okay.
I mean, and I'm coming from my own educational experience. I'm not even going to say Tennessee.
Okay.
New York, I'm from New York. So let's look at this here as you have a kid going into school. I went into school. I went into one of the poorest schools in the area. Okay. They decided to implement busing. Now, I'm not that old. Okay. But you know what I'm saying? That's like 85, 86 that they started busing students from one side of town to another. That was in the 80s. So we were, you know what I'm saying? This is a low performing school, and they didn't start busing us until the 80s. And then we get over to these other schools, and these kids have a more advanced curriculum. You know what I'm saying? Than we had. And you have kids failing, and then we have then you have kids start to act out, and it becomes this big issue about behavior, and especially with our boys, and not understanding that we don't all learn the same. It's a key idea. That there was a study that was done, and it was with 1,000 African American 6-year-old boys, okay, about how they learn. And I mean, one of the things they said about boys was African American boys were that these boys all could be strong in math. They're all strong in science. You know what I mean? They were weak in reading. But the issue that held them back was how they were able to be placed in the classroom. A lot of them would be sat directly in front of the teacher's desk. They would get in trouble for working on the floor. So the kids aren't even allowed to move and learn. You know what I'm saying? Or adapt the learning to their styles. You know, and that is an issue, because if we have one Eurocentric view of education and model, then we're supposed to adapt, pretty much is what they're saying. And like Miss Sonia just said, they know that the system wasn't built for us and that we're not going to be able to adapt to it.
Yeah. Can I give you a story that speaks to that, and then I'm going to jump to you. So I remember in the 5th grade, it was Miss Gibbs' class, right? In the 5th grade, I promise you, this was like a social experiment. They put all of the bad kids, we were all in one class. And I look back on that class, and I look at some of we laugh about it, some of us to this day, because it's like they put all of us in one class in the 5th grade, and we were not successful. My mom she knew something was up. She ended up moving me to another class. She moved me to Miss Pemberton's class. And that class was a whole lot different. It was a mixed classroom. It was, you know, we didn't have that many behavior issues. And I was like, putting us all in Miss Gibbs' class, was that a coincidence or was it intentional? And Sonia, I know that's what we talk about at times. Is it a coincidence?
It's definitely intentional. It's intentional. It's done on purpose. It's the same reason why you can go down into the basement. Back in the day, it used to be the special ed was in the basement or in the back of the school. You know what I mean? And they were all put in that same classroom today. I mean, together. So it is definitely intentional, because even if you go and you listen right now to some of these board meetings, especially when we're talking about issues with kids and behavior, the first thing they say is, the kids are out of control and we can't teach. So if we pluck that one student out of the classroom, does that make a difference? Because it's not. If they all have been in one classroom before and the achievement gap hasn't changed. So it has nothing to do with the kids or their behavior. It has something to do with the system.
What do you think, Sonia?
It's got everything to do with not teaching kids how to read. Let me tell you something. Children have the innate sense of survival. Okay? They're going to do what's easy. It's easy for me to get put out of the class.
Oh yeah. You
If
know what
I'm
to do.
struggling, if I'm struggling, and I don't want my friends to laugh at me, which could be the most shameful thing to a child, is to have somebody to laugh at them, to say that they're different and they can't read, or if they look different. Children have the innate sense of survival. They're going to do what's easy for them. It's human nature. It's human. It's easy for a child to talk. It is not easy. The brain is not set up to read the English language. There's a small percentage of people who can just read. So we have a system that is not set up for our children, but we also have a system that recognizes, that knows that they are not educating our children. And we have a system that ain't doing a damn thing about it. I said what I said. And yes, I got an attitude today.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So let me just tell you something, because I'm gonna keep it real with you, because I had to do some recommendations for college. Okay. And I had this one young woman that I did her recommendation, and I wanted to speak to two of her teachers because I really mentored her towards the end of the year. So I didn't really, and I wanted to add some extra stuff to her letter. And when I spoke to her teacher, I was like, if this is how the teacher sees her, how does the student see her? Oh, because the first thing, she loud. She loud. That's you know what I'm saying? They talk about her behavior as opposed to what she has achieved academically. Is she a straight A student? But the only thing you got to say is that she loud.
Don't nobody say loud when they calling plays on the basketball court.
Right.
Don't nobody say they loud when they calling plays on the volleyball court. Yep. Don't nobody say nothing loud when we lined up in center calling plays as quarterbacks. Don't nobody say we loud when we running the ball. Don't nobody say we strong and rough when we stiff arming down the sideline.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. So let me pull out my crystal ball or my crystal glass, right? And so let's think about where we are right now. And let's think about where we are academically before we went into quarantine. Let's think about what's happening in our homes, trying to teach our kids. And then let's think about where is the learning loss? And then let's say we come out of this for the 2021 school year. What does education look like? How do we overcome the amount of learning loss that our kids have experienced? Like, what do we do with that? Do we just ignore it?
We can't ignore it. We have a responsibility to do something about the learning loss that our children have experienced during this pandemic. Okay. Now, I'm going to say, parents, obviously, you need to do some stuff yourself too. But I feel as opposed to us having a system set up for these children in which we're trying to give them new information when they haven't learned the information they needed before that, we need this assessment to be used correctly. Okay. And that's where we go into that MAP assessment. Because if there is a learning loss and that MAP assessment shows us where the deficits are, we need to address those deficits with the individualized learning plans. So that means that all of those people that sit in their offices all day answering emails and going to lunch might need to come into some of these schools and help proctor these tests and put these plans together for the students, period. Like, if we don't do that, we're going to put out a generation of children that are not going to go to college. They're going to have low ACT and SAT scores, and it's going to be underperforming. And then the colleges, which right now, most of them aren't even giving grades, are going to accept these students in, and they're going to waste their money and fail out. That's what happens if we don't address this. We have to. There's no way we can.
So what I hear you saying is same old, same old. If we don't do something about it, same old, times 10.
You got it. I honestly, I'm gonna tell you this right now. there is I just got through talking to a parent this morning. Her son has not been to school yet.
Wow.
And she hasn't spoken to anybody from Metro. Okay? They're Kurdish. Her fourth grader has not been to school yet. She called. They're still waiting for the translator.
Wow.
Can you do me a favor?
Right.
I'm about to send it over to you.
615-509 1916. She get a translator today because we not.
Oh no, I got her translator this morning.
Okay, thank you. I
called one of my colleagues on the phone, and we did a three-way call, and we got him set up, and they're going to pick up his computer. But this stuff is happening, and they know there are kids that have not been logged in.
There are 33, approximately 33,000 children unaccounted for in the state of Tennessee, and that is just a preliminary number. Yeah. We have been saying for months right here in Davidson County that folk don't know what these children are. And folk looked at John, they looked at us like we was crazy.
Right.
We was like, these children ain't in school. You got families don't even know school started. It's not because they don't want their children there, but you got parents who have language barriers. Y'all, my mama called me fussing day before yesterday. She said, "Why they emailing and texting me?" I'm getting emailed and texts about some stuff. She getting emailed and texts about different stuff. What in the COVID-19 is going on?
Yeah. And again, when we think about 33,000, like we all done heard the stories as parents of kids who log on at the beginning of class, they say hello, they throw up the peace sign, and then after their first 5 minutes, camera off, and they're gone. And so they're logged in, they're registered for that day, but we know, I mean, they ain't spent any time even in the virtual classroom.
Exactly. And you know what? I think here's the thing. We're not blaming teachers. You know what I'm saying? We're not blaming teachers. We understand that the teachers are under a tremendous amount of stress. You know what I'm saying?
Get therapy.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I said that on purpose. Let me tell you something. I do believe in giving grace. I do. Get therapy. We cannot educate children and make excuses at the same time.
Exactly.
So
I mean, so we do understand that, but the thing is with the virtual learning program, and this is why my biggest question to everybody is, and nobody can answer this question, why the Florida virtual school? No one has answered that question yet.
Do you need an answer? You want me to answer?
We need an answer. You want to know why we need an answer?
No, because you want to know the answer?
What? Yeah. No, the reason why I just feel like the question needs to go out because the Florida virtual school, if we do the research on it, we know there's the issues that exist there. Okay, we have a Tennessee virtual school.
Ms. Burke.
Yes. Money.
Money. You want me to answer it?
I know it's money.
Okay. We got a Dollar General store education. We got HGLs instead of Publix. We got some Oogs instead of some Uggs. I'm gonna come down y'all street.
Yeah. She on Canal right now in New York.
It's always cutting corners when it comes to children. We in the it city.
And you know what? And this is a thing I think that when we are allowed to be in these meetings, the batch of parents that we are allowed to be in the meetings, these are the questions we need to ask. Because there is another program, like the program I'm using with my son, Excelis. Same setup. I pay for access for my child singly, but it addresses the deficit. Mm-hmm. So who got that kickback for that Florida virtual school as opposed to a program that was going to help deal with the deficits of our children? Because we know they have deficits, and we know there's LMSs, and LMS, I'm sorry, is a learning management systems that are geared to deal with that specifically. As educators, who made this decision? And that person who made that decision needs to be called to the table. Mm. They need to be called to the table, and they need to answer for it, because that is the issue, and that is why our children are behind. Mm-hmm. And anybody, and they can say, like I said, and I'm very passionate about this. Mm-hmm. Because I sat there, I've gone through the Florida virtual school. I see how they import it into Schoology, and it's substandard.
Mm-hmm. It's mom and pop stove.
Yeah, listen, that's the lemonade stand that the kids set up outside is what that is. Okay. Now, I could not, as a college professor, put out a course like these kids are taking right now. The state would fine the university because it's not ADA compliant.
So let's jump into that. So you've got people who are fighting to take away the accountability measures. And so I'm speaking to state testing, Tennessee Ready. Mm-hmm. So the governor, the unions, certain legislators are not wanting to penalize schools and teachers, but yet they're willing to penalize children. Exactly. When does it become about children? If you go to the state's dashboard for accountability, it is absent for data on performance and present for data on discipline. If I ain't gonna say it, I ain't lying.
Say it, Sonya. You need to say it.
Yeah,
I ain't lied yet.
Yeah, and this is a good conversation. Let's shout out Tiara. Miss Anderson is on here. Tracy Boyd, our friend that travels back and forth from Jackson to Nashville. Jordan Majors, cohort 3. Let's see who else we got out here. Torvis. We got Miss Stacy Campbell, who we were talking about her husband and the work that her and her husband are doing at Mount Carmel. And then last we got Joyce on here, I think cohort 4. And so shout out to you guys that are jumping on and having this deep conversation as we bring Miss Burke on, who is getting ready to graduate cohort 6.
And let me take a minute to shout out Tracy Boyd. Yeah, he my godson, so yeah, he gonna get some preferential treatment right now. But Tracy Boyd, I am proud of him. Because first of all, he's a few things here. He's a good man. He has created a private school, the University of Law and Leadership in North Nashville. He is a movement builder, fighting for the inequities and injustices in communities in Jackson, Tennessee. And I am proud to say that on December the 5th, he will be graduating from law school. And I am proud of him, and I'm excited about the work that he's going to continue to do here in Nashville and in Jackson. So I had to shout him out because those are huge accomplishments that our Black men are not recognized for. And he is doing some powerful things. And yes, he's my godson, and he's graduating on my birthday. So I had to shout him out because I am extremely proud of him.
Turn up.
Congratulations.
But also, I want to shout out a couple of parents too, real quick. I don't mean to put out business, but I attended a meeting with Joyce and Torvis Gardner Torvis is one of our organizers, and he graduated in cohort 3, and Joyce, I believe, graduated in cohort 4. And they went through our parent advocacy fellowship, and they developed their power. And I sat in a meeting with them yesterday, and they came powerful. They came with power. They were trained, they were developed, and they are powerful parents. They were able to go into a school meeting and turn that thing upside down. They went into a meeting in February before they went through our fellowship and came back with capes and power. And that school did not even recognize them. And so I want to shout them out for their leadership and their power. So shout out to Torvis and my girl, Miss Joyce. Up, you're on mute, John.
Oh, my bad. I said whoop, whoop, but that's what it's all about, like helping our parents and so they can help others, because now that they have the knowledge, who else can they in turn go talk to? I mean, we talked about the MAP testing. I mean, Kanisha was saying what she did, and I think Miss White was saying, and other parents started to do the same thing, because it's like they always say, if you knew better, you would what?
Do better.
You would do better. And so once you know, it's easy to transition in and say, oh, like if it worked for Sonya or Kanisha, like I'm about to do the same thing. Now, I'll tell you, when they were talking about we can get that money for the data breach, they was like, we just got to fill it out. Now, I never got my money, but in education, once you hold them accountable, the rules are the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I want to say this, John, I want to highlight something, because the system has created this messaging that parents don't care.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I want to tell you the difference. Parents do care, because like I said, in February, they took action, but the system is geared or set up to protect itself,
Mm-hmm.
and to have people who protect the system. System protectors.
Yeah.
SPs, that's what I call them. SP, y'all hear me say SPs. They system protectors. And so parents have known better, but I'm going to put it in the street way, like we know it.
Mm-hmm.
There's been access denied. Charge it to the gang.
Mm-hmm.
They've been running game on us.
And you know what? And let me speak to that to you, Miss Sonya, because my son, his best friend, same diagnosis, autism, ADHD. Okay. I know the system. His mom doesn't. Okay. I have been at every IEP meeting. I have rewritten every IEP. I have spoke to the director of exceptional education from the top to the bottom when it comes to my child, making sure that he gets what he wants. You're not giving him 15 minutes of speech with 6 other students. That's not what we're not doing that. Okay. Because I know what he's allowed and what he's supposed to get. Other child, parent, they still care. But they don't know that they can call and talk and do all of this stuff to get this stuff for their child. My son is ahead of him. You know what I'm saying? Same issues, different parents with different knowledge. These parents care, but they don't have the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And luckily,
go back to that comment about Miss Yvonne said not all are system protectors. Let me explain something. This is why I call people system protectors. I think that nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I don't want to do right by children. Like, I worked in Riverbend Maximum Security. I know some people that's done some bad stuff, right? Like that's a small number of psychopaths. For the most part, I know that most people wake up in the morning and want to do right by children. But let me explain something to you guys and help you to understand what I mean by that. But I think in the course of a day, when we see things and we know things, we have to speak up. And so I will describe a system protector in my term. I started using this term about a year ago. maybe a year and a half ago. So let me clarify what a system protector is. Most people are system protectors, because if you got to send me an email in private when you see something is wrong, although you said something, you still have to protect the system and protect your job. You are a system protector if you do that. If you cannot take action, whether you're afraid of retaliation, whether you're afraid to lose your job, and you see that something is wrong, you know that something is wrong, and you got to whisper it, you're protecting the system. I'm not saying you, Yvonne. I'm talking about, I'm giving the definition of what a system protector is. If you went through the system worked for you, and you champion a system that you know didn't work for 85 to 90% of other people, but you still try to push it knowing it ain't right. You cannot publicly say it. You do not take any action on it. You are a system protector. Now, if you fall up under those ranks, up under those definitions, you can come out of it. You don't, but the point is, people are system protectors. They're protecting their job. Teacher unions, they focus on livelihood. Our movement is focused on children's lives so that they can have a livelihood. So a system protector is somebody that works in or out of the system, who protects the system, know it ain't right, makes excuses for the system, whispers about it. I got an email yesterday. Somebody knows somebody breaking the law. Send me a private email. What the hell you sending me a private email for?
Do something.
And
do something. You're gonna send me to go do something that you by law are bound to do because you're afraid. You're a system protector.
And let me tell you, Miss Sonia, I got those emails. I've gotten those emails about my own child.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm tired of people playing with children. I'm tired of it.
Let me know. And see, here's the thing that people don't understand is that if we notice that something is wrong in the schools, right? And we're in the school and you don't fix it. And then you're like, oh, the parents.
Man, that's like witnessing a murder. You saw it and you didn't call 911.
Right. Exactly.
And then you
know what a body is. You're accessory.
Exactly. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Because if we didn't have these system protectors, a lot of people will be called to the table. And that's why I said I can't wait for the first meeting, because the first question I'm asking is, who chose the Florida virtual school?
You know what I want to know? You know what I want to know? Where's the NAACP? Where are the pastors in this city?
Yes.
Where are the Malcolm X's? Where are the Dr. Martin Luther King? Where are the Rosa Parks? Where are you when you see inequities? When you see a one-size-fits-all? When you see the #1 civil rights issue that's been here since even the voting issue, since slavery, folks couldn't register to vote if they couldn't read over a 6th grade level. And you know what the United States Senate said? And I thought they can't read over a 6th grade level, so they don't deserve to register to vote. This is the first civil rights issue. Where are these people?
And let me, Sonia, they're system protectors. That's where they are. Just like you said, because these people are afraid of speaking up and losing these contracts, the high paying administrative jobs,
sororities, fraternities. I don't care what we say, John.
Anybody can
get it.
Anybody can get it.
Anybody can get it.
And when it comes to my kids, I ain't really really gonna play no games. So
Right.
We building a movement and we tired. And I know I'm a little agitated today. I am. Because I watched yesterday as people played with somebody's children, man. Man, you can't keep playing with folk children. I watched it. I witnessed it. Somebody playing with somebody's child's life, man, lying and stalling and protecting folk, protecting the principal, protecting even protect the po-teachers. They started ratting each other out.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on the call started telling on everybody. Once I say, you're breaking the law, you breaking the law.
Mm-hmm.
Once they knew we knew the law, the teachers, everybody started telling on each other. Here come the secret text messages and secret emails. We need you to do it. No, you don't witness the murder.
Come on now.
You just as guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what Sonia said about asking, where are these people? Because 2020 has been a year for us of complete and total turmoil. We know this. All right. If we can march for, police brutality, we need to march for education. You understand? We need to hold those signs up outside where that meeting is about education as well. We need to yell and do these videos and the work PROPEL is doing. This has to be front and center for our kids, because if we don't, what are we saying to our children? That's the thing that we have to start looking at. If we don't do something, we're telling our children we don't care. So we got the system telling them they don't care, and then we tell them they don't matter. No, it can't work that way. They have to know we matter.
Not no more. We're building a whole movement over here. We are building a movement of parents and grandparents from our most struggling communities. We are organizing them. Get ready, the city of Nashville. We are organizing them and developing them into powerful parent leaders to ignite a movement that demands equitable education, policies, and practices right here in Nashville, Tennessee. And that's what we're going to do until the last breath in our body. Nothing else matters. So parents and grandparents, as you're listening right now, as you're listening under the sound of our voices, we are ready to develop you. You are powerful. I know you done lost hope. I know you frustrated, baby. I know you tired. I know you don't work your butt off. I know that you are struggling. We all are. I'm struggling. But if I got you and you got me, we gonna be all right. The problem is you've been struggling by yourself. And the system is set up for you to go into a meeting with 6 to 10 other people by yourself to wear your butt down. And damn it, they done succeeded for decades. But we got their card now, because we're going to prepare you to go in the meeting and you going to come with the agenda. You going to run the meeting. You're going to know your rights and their responsibilities. And you are going to create a space where there's partnerships, and you're not going to ask for partnership no more. So you're going to be like the cavemen. The cavemen used to have that big old stick, and they used to hit the woman over the head and say, you're going to be my woman, and I'll put you over my shoulder. They just took them, and I know that was terrible, but you're going to go in there with the tools that you need, and you are going to lead and show your power, and you are going to get what is due to your child. And that's them reaching their greatest potential. I don't care if they have a learning disability. They have accommodations so that they're just like the valedictorian. If your child is not improving, the goals, the interventions, the goal need to remain the same. The interventions and the accommodations need to be changed. Stop letting them people go in there and move your goals farther and farther behind. It's their job to get them to the finish line. And not all children have learning disabilities. Some of them just not being taught.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got to decipher that by assessing every child for learning loss and putting together an individualized plan, a plan of care. If Miss Burke go in the hospital and I go in the hospital and we got the same symptoms, that don't mean we got the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
That nor does it mean that we're going to have the same plan of care. That means we got to get rid of this one size fits all mentality. Y'all don't order them old fitted sheet dresses off of Amazon that don't fit right.
Mm-hmm.
You need your size. Sorry, y'all. I'm hot as fish grease today. Somebody pissed me off, and I'm sorry.
Nope.
But I got a right to be mad.
And you should be. And you know what, Sonia? You really spoke to me when you just said being tired. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, I'm a parent. I work. I'm trying to help other parents, and I'm homeschooling my child. You know what I'm saying? That tired is in our bones. It's here.
And still paying taxes.
And still paying taxes. And mind you, I'm still paying taxes for a public school education that one of my children are not doing. They're not getting. But I still go to work every day and I still do what I have to do. And I'm still busting my tail for my kids. And we are tired and we are frustrated. And I do feel like that power of this movement is so necessary because what you do when you're tired of being sick and tired, okay? Mm-hmm. You got to stop being nice, period. It's time to stop being nice.
I ain't nice at all when it comes to children. And I don't think I have to be. I was nice for years as people sat in front of me and told me that they were helping my child. You don't get nice from me no more. You don't get nice for your child, John's child. I see Lita on here. Nobody get nice. Now I can be cordial. And you can decide if you want corporate America or North Nashville, any of those people. But we bringing it. We're bringing it. It's not about being nice. It's not about me liking you or you liking me. Because you know what? I'm very fun. Mm-hmm. But what ain't fun is when my kids can't take care of themselves and when they don't reach their greatest potential, when they're geniuses. Lita's son. Lita's on here. One of the most brilliant children I ever seen. She got 2 boys that are brilliant that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. 63 years ago, the picture that you see, it says Errol Groves holds the hand of his mother, Iredale Groves, as they walked to Buena Vista School on the first day of desegregation in Nashville schools. 1957, 63 years ago, 4 to 5 months ago, they had to shut Buena Vista down because of what? Those kids were not getting a good education. They were consistently, for decades, in the bottom 5%. And that's what we're dealing with. And so we thought we were changing something. But in reality, 63 years later, they had to shut the school down because it wasn't educating our kids.
And you know what? I thought about this, and you know, Miss Sonia's nephew and him starting that school, you know, and I remember when I first had that startup for that, and I listened to what was going to make that education different than what's going to make the education that our kids have right now is different, and I really think it's important for people like that. You know what I'm saying? To be out in front as a great example of what it could be. Because after I saw him on there, I started researching. I'm like, listen, I'm about to send my kid to you if you want here. I'm about to send my child over to you.
And he's got some, he's got virtual stuff. So reach out to me, Kanisha. I can hook you with Tracy. I think it's a both and because I'm thinking about dual enrollment for my one of my children into Tracy's program. And we need to get behind this. Tracy's program needs to be a national model. And the reason why I say that is because it addresses the school to prison pipeline. Ledford Newman, Purpose Prep. She is the elementary school model that this country needs to look at. But because it is, because people want to protect the system and their livelihood, or they want to be anti-child, then they don't want to look at it. And so parents, that's why it's important for us to have choices. When we don't have choices, we die, children die. Okay? You got to be able to have a choice. You cannot continue to send your children into a monopolized society because there's a form of racism, sexism, all those isms in there that really keep them from being successful. And so we've got to make sure that we celebrate when we see great opportunities like Tracy's his school. And we got to get behind it.
And you know what? I also want to put it out here, and I just want I think it's time for the district to stop celebrating. I'm sorry.
Stop celebrating what?
I think the district need to stop celebrating. That we need to. We didn't need a principal of the year this year.
Come on now.
We don't need a teacher of the year this year.
Come on now.
Okay, because in the time that you was going through to tally that, we could have been doing some correlation and map tests. We're in a pandemic. In a pandemic, that means we are in a state in which the whole world, basically the whole world is shut down. Who needs? Why are we giving out awards right now?
Yeah.
And you know what? I do think that we should celebrate success, but it could have been done at a virtual party or something.
Yeah.
Something different.
Because how many? Oh, I like that, Kanisha. You learned in class. Go, girl. How many children are we celebrating? Are we going to celebrate the 14 that the Valley Victorian had last semester?
Nope.
How many children? See, they should have a wall of fame of children who are children of the year. See, my goal would be to have 85% of the school district on the wall of celebration. But nobody said our children are not the focus, guys. We got to get that through our head. Anything else doesn't matter. If you don't have children succeeding, why do we have schools? Public education ain't free education.
Nope.
Yeah.
We pay for that.
On the back end.
And you know what? And that's the thing. That's the thing, Miss Sonia, right there, what you just said. We pay for that. If you went to a restaurant and you pay for your dinner and it came out and it was not good, you call and ask for the manager and you sending it back.
And some of y'all gonna pop off.
Right.
Yep.
Now, our children are about what, like a $13,000 meal right now? So we got $13,000 walking in the door every single day for you. If you're not serving them, I want to speak to the manager.
Yeah. And let me end it off with this, just with a quick 2-minute video of just one of our parents who were on here last week and just listening to her, what she's going through. And she felt like she didn't have a voice. And after she did that interview, she realized that she has a seat at the table too. When she talks, people listen. And I'm going to play it real quick.
Our lives, including the way our children learn. Learning loss has become a constant concern for parents during this COVID-19 pandemic. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. A local organization is now pushing Metro Nashville schools to make special accommodations for students who struggle with virtual learning. News 2's Valencia Wicker spoke to a mom who says for the first time, her kids are failing in school.
It is easier said than done, teaching students new concepts from the comfort of their own homes.
So it's so easy to get off track being at home. And then sometimes the teachers are also, they have their own things going on. So it's hard for them to just show that full attention to students over the computer because there's so many glitches and so many things that's going on.
Tiara Holloway is a mom of 4. She says her kids are struggling to meet educational standards through virtual learning.
I have a daughter, she's in the 6th grade, and she's like, Mom, I'm dumb now. And I'm like, no, you're not dumb. It's just, this is the way school has to be for now.
Her family is like so many others experiencing COVID.
Our education system is set up as a one-size-fits-all system that has not worked in decades, especially for marginal children that we represent in our most struggling communities who are zoned to low-performing schools. And so it's very as individual people.
That's why Nashville PROPEL is asking the district to provide individualized lesson plans and curriculum.
We have officially demanded that the district works with parents as partners and works with.
And I'll put that out there just on a Facebook page again, and I'll put the link in here. But this is what we're trying to do, guys. Like, we have cold anger, and we got to take this anger that we have right here and put it to good use behind something. We got to support one another. We're going to lead a rebellion against something that's not working. Kanisha can't do it alone. Sonia can't do it alone, and I can't do it alone. But when the 3 of us come together, like, that's the power. And just think about when we triple that number, when we add in Miss Campbell, or we add in Yvonne, or we bring Torvis and Joyce. And so what we're really trying to do is start this movement, and it has to come with everybody who wants better for not just their children, but for all children.
Can I just say something to you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna put my communications professor hat on real quick and just say, stop calling it anger. Start calling it passion. Because calling it anger is a play on words, is stereotypical, is systematically ingrained in us for us to believe that our passion is anger. That's passion. What Sonia just did, that was passion. What you say is passion. So replace that anger word with passion, and you're gonna see it's something different. We got cold passion now. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Cold passion is different.
Yeah.
Than cold anger.
And you're right. Words have power.
Yeah.
Words have meaning. What somebody say, John, a couple of years ago? They was asked, "You gonna work with crazy Sonny?" I said, "Go tell him I'm crazy as hell."
Yeah.
I am. I'm crazy. I'm an introvert. I don't bother nobody. I sit in my room. I watch 2 hours a week of TV, but y'all done made me crazy now. I done came out my room.
Yeah.
But and the thing is, yeah, I'm passionate, but I am angry. I'm angry too. I'm angry at the fact that, and I said it earlier, we at the crime scene. Everybody see that there's a body there, but then somebody look at it and say, "Is that a grape?" That ain't no body. That's a bowl of fruit.
Yeah.
That's what makes me angry, because we all see the problem. Now, what I do think is we have the game-changing solution. And so we've got to have a movement of parents and grandparents. If you really, really, let's just say, even if you feel like it's the parents' fault, or you feel like the kids in Nashville are bad, do you want that to change? Join us. Join us. First of all, we're going to help you to change that perspective, but do something or shut up. Put up
Or shut up.
or shut up. If you tired of the crime, the juvenile crime, if you tired of watching our kids die in the street, if you tired of seeing them going to juvenile, to River Bend, to West Tennessee, if you tired of your car being broken in my neighborhood, on Facebook. Somebody done broke in my car again. If you tired of that, if you tired of people toilet paper in your house, children. If you, I've never seen. Have you seen a Meharry graduate? Most Meharry graduates get in trouble in school. No. Most children who are doing well in school, I mean, children gonna be mischievous. Hell, I got into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna tell you something. I got into more, and I was preoccupied with a lot of things because I struggled in reading. And I ain't ashamed to say it. I can read, but I struggled in reading. I may have dyslexia. I may have some other things. I know I do have a disability because I've been diagnosed. But what it did was it hindered me. And that's the same thing that's happening to these children. A lot of these children don't even have a disability. They just not even taught because they go into these meetings and they'll say, "Little Ray is talking." Well, hell, let him do a speech.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them I have a dream speech. Teach them the preamble of the Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice. Teach them something.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Sonia, just circling back to what John said to me at the beginning, what you just said. They talk too much. He talking too much. Give him
That was on
speech.
my report card all the time. I had ends
Right.
meeting to talk too much.
It was a stakeholder in the school that said she talks a lot. She's good with communication. Let's go ahead and get her into an oratory.
Come on now.
Let's go. Had that person not looked at me instead of saying she talked too much, but nah, she's really good. She's a really good
girl. You can talk, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
can talk. I mean, but I liked it that you said that because nobody should make you ashamed. Look at you. You can talk and you speak very well and powerful. And you have a lot of wonderful things to say. And I'm sure somebody tried to make you feel ashamed about that. Just like somebody tries to make me feel ashamed about my passion. I don't even care. You need more soft skills. I ain't soft. I'm hard. So, I'm glad you said that. That's powerful, Ms. Burke, Dr. Burke. I'm gonna call you Dr. Burke because I'm proud of you, Dr. Burke. That is powerful because somebody said you talk too much and you don't talk too much. You are powerful. You could be the next president of the United States. You can be one of the highest paid entrepreneurs in public speaking.
go ahead.
That's one of the highest paying jobs. It's public speaking, but then they tell our children they talk too much. What kind of crap is that?
Or they tell the people who teach it's a general ed course, but then they telling the kids, "Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that."
George said, "Deal with what you created." I like that one. Candace says, "I've been called overzealous more than once by MNPS." Girl, we're going to get you a t-shirt that says overzealous. I'm going to give me a t-shirt to say crazy Sonia.
I'm crazy about education. Hey, call it what you want.
I'm crazy about children.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that before they're even formed in their mother's womb, that they are pure genius. We often overlook children who are autistic. I saw a documentary a few weeks ago where companies are actively seeking. So all my IEP moms out there that are struggling and you're fighting for your children. You got these big companies who are looking for your children who are autistic because what it is they have certain gifts. Mm-hmm. And mamas, daddies, I want you to tap into those gifts. Stop worrying about how different they are. I'm different. You're different. These companies, billion-dollar companies, and I got to find that documentary because maybe I need to share it with you guys because it was powerful. They're looking for these children because what these children could do was put together mathematical things. They could take pieces of information and put it together like a machine. They were doing things that these companies have been trying to master for years and were unable to do it. And they're causing their companies to be billion-dollar companies. And they're actively, Nashville has an autism program at Vanderbilt. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Where they cultivate children. Look into that, guys. They bridge into that program. They help these companies find these children. You take those geniuses that you have and you make those dreams come true, mamas. And I know we got to go, but I needed to say that to y'all because I know it's rough.
Miss Sonia, can I say one last thing?
Yes, baby.
I just want people to stop thinking that the IEP means that these children are not intelligent.
Come on, mama.
An IEP is autism is a diagnosis, okay? It is not who the child is.
Come on now.
Okay? It does not determine their ability. And every child with an IEP or who has autism or who has ADHD is different. And they have different abilities.
Come on.
And we need to treat them as such.
An IEP is a plan for accommodations that have to be given for law.
Exactly.
Your child is not an IEP child.
Exactly.
Your child is John. Your child is Jim and Sharon and Nicole, who are geniuses. And you know what? So next year, we're going to spend some time. Dr. Burke, I might need you to lead this with me. Mm-hmm. We're going to take our parents who have been beat down so much, who have children who have IEPs, and we're going to build them up. We're going to change their mindset. We're going to equip them. And we're going to make the fight less difficult because we're going to fight together. And so, Dr. Burke, let's talk offline about that. First, this is the thing. I always tell our team, you can't fight if you be down. So I am making a commitment that all of our parents who have children who are exceptional learners, we're going to invest some special time, and I'll get with our program support and Dr. Burke. And we're going to invest some time. We're going to build you guys up because you're beat and you're battered. And we've got to get you strengthened back up, Candace. She's one on here that I know takes care of family and is. We're going to invest some time. We're going to take care of you. We're going to take care. That's right. Candace said, my child's name is William Levi, and I call William Levi by his name.
Exactly.
And everybody, before we go, put your child's name in the comments. Everybody, let's see it. Put your name, call your children by their name. Let me see it real quick before we go. Call them by their name. Come on, leader. Put your baby's names in there. Call them by their name. Let me see. William Levi. Who else we got on here? Come on.
I'm going to shout it out while we wait. I got Landon Burke and I have Marco Burke. There we go.
Good. I got Jordan Nelson. I've got Sarah Thornton. I've got Trinity Thornton and Charles Thornton Jr. Katoya said she's got Isaiah and Anaya White. Come on, who else we got? Tiara's got Jalen and got Jalen Wilson. Who else we got? Stacy said she's got JJ and Malachi and Micaiah and London. Who else we got? We got Lavinia Beasley. Who you got? Call these babies by their names.
Because when we named them, because I mean, let's think like when we enslaved back in slavery, we didn't have the right to name ourselves, right?
Who you got, Peter? Yep, I'm gonna call these names out, Dr. Burke. Lavelle, Michael, Josiah, Kareem. I might have said that wrong. Case and Trimble, Tiara. John, who you got? Call him by his name. You on mute, but call my boy by his name. We got Journey. John got John Little, the fourth. Who else we got? Visha. I know we got Kennedy, Sana's baby. She called me Sana. Who else we got? Tiara said we got all children in MNPS. We got them covered. So next week, this is what I want y'all to do. First of all, get the map assessments. Next week, I want y'all to bring your newborn baby pictures. And I want you to put them in the comment. Or we're going to put up a post. And I want you to post your babies. I don't care if they 20 now. I want you to take their newborn baby pictures. Go find them. Because when they were born, you looked at them and you had a vision for them. And sometimes you got to go back. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to end right here and say that thank you, Dr. Burke, for joining us. It's been nice. We went over today, but I think we needed to. Candace said, she said, I tell my son, it ain't what they call you, it's what you answer to. Come on. God says he's his beloved child and in whom he's well pleased. That's one of my favorite sayings. I don't care what they do.
And tell them to explain those map scores to you too. That's a good another challenge. Call them and ask them.
But you know what? So coming up December the 7th, we have Dr. Penny Swin. That's on a Monday night, 6 o'clock. We need everybody to join us. Everybody there from the community. Because she's been going to community meetings and only a few people show up. We need some Kanisha. I need you to organize at least 10 parents on here. We need everybody that's under the sound of my voice to have at least 10 parents on here. We're going to have our education commissioner. I'm thinking, I might just pick somebody out of the hat to join that show with us. We usually don't have a parent on there, but maybe it's time that we do. We welcome Dr. Penny Swin. She aligns with a lot of things that we've been talking about. We are excited to hear her plan to address learning loss. She is a champion for the individualized learning plan. And she gets a lot of flack, but we may not all agree on everything. But we do agree on this. But we need for them to move with a sense of urgency. Shout out to the leadership in MNPS that met with us last week, who agreed to partner with us. And so parents, we're putting together some things that we're going to be asking you guys some questions because they're asking us what we want in this individualized learning plan. And we want to make sure that we get that information to them. So shout out to Dr. Battle and her team, but we got to get it done. So I'm going to end by saying, you guys, make sure you go to our website, NashvillePropel.org. You can fill out a form there that says that you want to join the movement. One of our organizers will contact you. I want to welcome to our team, Ms. Tamara Powell, who is our operations manager. So shout out to her starting this week. And just say to you guys, we will see you on next Wednesday, although it's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We got a special show. That's why I want you guys to have those baby pictures. We're going to talk about being thankful for our babies when we're going to celebrate the holidays. Stay safe, stay masked up, quarantine. The numbers are going up. Love you guys and have a good rest of the week.